Social Truth, episode 13. I'm Andy Sikora.
And I'm Matt Kitchen. Social Truth is your television show for the popular.
Wow, that was drawn out.
I like to do that. Popular website, socialtruth.com. We take a lot of news stories, throw them online. We invite your discussion about them, which has been picking up. And we bring our favorites, and actually your favorites to you like this, where we talk about how they relate to God's truth in society. Yes. So today's actually a good show because we've had quite a few posts this past week.
Unlike all the other shows.
Unlike all the other shows. This one's going to be this one might actually be good. Joking. So I picked a lot of the shows because Andy actually got on the ball and posted some news as well as me.
Brought my A game this week.
Yeah, so we had a good selection to pick from, and I picked the ones that the most people commented on. So the most popular stories by you guys out there. So it's cool. So that's what we're bringing to you today, and there's some good stories as a result.
Yeah.
So let's roll into the first one.
Let's get rolling.
There's
something else.
Doubt it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Story number one. Large asteroid zips past Earth. This is from CNN.com. A huge asteroid whizzed by Earth early Monday, passing about 269,000 miles from the planet's surface, slightly farther away than the moon. Apparently, this asteroid was about a mile wide in some places.
Yes.
And this is one of about 36 different asteroids that have done this in the last 4 or 5 years.
Have the other ones been this big?
I don't know if they've been this big or this close, but it's it's a little nervous.
36 asteroids. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's like that video game.
Does it make you nervous?
Not really.
Yeah,
Nothing really scares me. But Nathan Smart on some of the comments, because I posted this story kind of because I thought it was interesting, and also kind of because I think these kind of stories are a little funny. Like what are you gonna do if there's a giant asteroid coming?
Well, it's already passed. Who cares?
And I made a comment. Yeah, I made a comment about how that Deep Impact movie, in that movie they put all the smart people and all the best parts of society in a cave to repopulate the Earth, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't get to be a part of that. And so. But Nathan Smart wrote down, what does this have to do with God? And this is actually his quote. He wrote, I've always been curious of space and why God made it if Earth is the place where everything is going down. How much of space, which God created, is allowed to interfere with the Earth? I think that's a real interesting question.
That's a real good question.
You got any thoughts on that?
I read that and I was like, I never think about that, but it's true. Sure. And I don't know, First of all, we only think about the people around us, maybe the town around us, and maybe the state around us, and the nation around us. But beyond that, we don't even have good vision of what the world is around us, let alone the universe around us. And so I've always thought about, because I've always wondered, why did the space program? What do we need to know out there and stuff like that? So I've always been, concerned about only what's local rather than what's out there.
And I wonder, too, even, let's say, let's hope this doesn't happen, but if an asteroid hits the Earth, what happens to the Earth? Does it destroy all the Earth, or does it just, destroy parts of the Earth? I guess when Nathan asked the question, I think, it's probably, to me, a lot like a natural disaster in the fact that things happen that are outside the control of man, basically, like hurricanes or tornadoes. People are injured or die or left without housing. And I think that still falls in the same place. Why would God allow a hurricane to happen? If this were to happen and it would hit the Earth, which, in recorded history, we really don't have any. Maybe the Ice Age was started by something like this. I think it would fall under that as well. So I don't know. You have any other thoughts on that?
I don't.
The truth of the matter is this. If you see a huge asteroid coming towards your house, run.
Run
Fast.
But you probably won't make it.
No. Unless you're really fast.
Somebody from Japan made a graphic model of an asteroid hitting the Earth large, and it was big explosion.
I'm guessing it would be a bad week.
It's not going to be
Wouldn't be
happy
best
for a lot
week
of people.
ever for that, no.
Next story.
Yeah.
Driving while on cell phones worse than driving while drunk. This is from Forbes.com. So maneuvering through traffic while talking on the phone actually increases the likelihood of an accident 5-fold and is actually more dangerous than driving drunk, U.S. researchers report. So, all right, you may be a little taken off by that. I think this study is it's skewed ridiculously a little bit.
You think it's skewed?
I do. Okay.
Tell me why you think it's skewed, or give me some facts.
Yeah, I'll give you some facts. First, let me give you the quote this guy says, because this guy actually does raise a good point.
Okay.
Okay, first, let's say that cell phone...
Maybe that guy has ridden behind me while I was on the phone.
Cell phones, I do think, impair driving to a degree, okay?
Like yesterday when I was on the phone and I was just all of a sudden in another lane with my car right next to another car.
This is a true story?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would be one example,
You know that feeling where you about pee your pants?
Yes.
Yeah, that was that feeling.
Yes.
And then that guy going like this.
Yeah. And the guy right behind you was peeing his pants as well.
Yeah.
As a society, we have agreed on not tolerating the risk associated with drunk driving. True.
Okay, true.
This study shows us that somebody who is conversing on a cell phone is exposing him or herself and others to a similar risk. Cell phones actually are a higher risk. So he's saying if we don't tolerate drunk driving, why do we tolerate cell phone talking? Driving. So here's how they conducted the study though, which is terrible. 40 people only.
40 people.
Small sample space, okay?
20 of them they got super drunk, and 20 of them they gave cell phones.
Not so much. If by super drunk you mean a 0.08% level of alcohol in their body, that's like the legal minimum of being intoxicated.
Okay.
For some people, that's like a drink or two, and they're perfectly coherent.
So they did get people drunk, though.
They did actually get people to ingest alcohol, yeah. So some people drove while talking on a cell phone, others navigated while driving. What?
So they said, let's have a study. You get drunk and then get in a car and let's see what happens.
Totally missed the first line of this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
40 people followed a pace car along a prescribed course using a driving simulator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They didn't just like send them on the road drunk.
All right, you guys, let's go out there. Let's see who comes back.
I gotta throw this for my dog. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's really funny. Some people drove while talking on a cell phone. Others navigated while drunk, meaning their blood alcohol limit matched the legal limit of 0.08%. And others drove with no such distractions or impairments.
Okay.
What they found out is that the people that had the no impairments obviously were fine. The people that had drunk, the people that were driving 0.08% actually had no accidents. They had some little not good things, but they didn't crash.
Okay.
People with cell phones, I think they say crashed 4 to 6 times.
Shut up.
Seriously.
Shut up. What kind of course did they take these people?
They're just following a pace
Here's the
car.
question I don't understand.
The thing is,
if you are following a pace car on a marked course, wouldn't you just be like, hey, just keep talking, but I'm not going to pay attention. I'm going to really try hard.
Well, I'm sure they told them not to do that. Not to think that way.
This is ridiculous. You have to try to get in a wreck in that situation.
I don't know. It's interesting.
So are you calling for the outlaw of cell phone?
I'm not calling for the. Another interesting point though is that a lot of people think it's okay if they talk hands-free.
Yeah.
Where they don't have the cell phone up to their ear.
Said it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And in their studies it says 40 people. I don't even. Hands-free versus non-hands-free does not matter. So, because a lot of states have outlawed the use of cell phones, but as long as you use hands-free, it's okay. They're saying if you were having a conversation.
That's how it is in California.
At the same time, though, how many times do you have a conversation with the person sitting next to you?
Or how many times am I yelling at the radio?
Right, exactly.
Because that happens pretty much.
Which is more common with you than most people.
I'm kind of out of control.
Yes, I agree. But if you're talking on hands-free, is that not the same thing as if you're talking to the person next to you?
See, I don't.
Because I look at my wife more than I would look at somebody if I'm on the hands-free.
Sure. I think that your wife, though, screams when you're about to get
that's the thing. That is the thing they mentioned. Good job. They say that she is watching the road, or he is watching the road as often as you are, so they alert you, and she does alert me.
Yes.
But my favorite quote here is industry spokesman said that cell phones don't cause accidents, people do.
That's the dumbest thing.
So I think that's great. So I don't know. The truth is, I guess if it's proven that they're going to cause accidents, we probably shouldn't do it. But at the same time, I found myself as I'm driving someplace, like that's the most easiest time to pick up the cell phone and talk to somebody because that's the time where you're doing nothing but just driving. So, but maybe we shouldn't do it.
I think that
to help save lives.
I'll do whatever I want because I'm an American.
I think so. Next story.
Just so you know, that was a joke.
People need to pick up on your sense of humor.
Okay, story number 3. This is a great story. Christian film's PG rating troubles Congress. This is from CNN.com. A Christian-themed movie about a football coach's faith in God is finding an audience in Congress. Not so much for its inspirational message, but for the PG rating it received. House Majority Whip Roy Blunt and other lawmakers.
What is a House Majority Whip?
I don't even know.
That's all right.
And other lawmakers are demanding explanations after hearing complaints that the movie Facing the Giants was rated PG instead of G due to religious content. So this movie was made, I think it's by a bunch of Baptist guys who financed it themselves, and they said they sent it in to get the rating, and the MPAA sent it back saying that the reason they got a PG rating was because of the Christian themes.
No, is that true?
That's exactly this is what the producers of the movie said. But the But the MPAA has issued statements saying that there was a misunderstanding in the conversation, that it was never said that it was because of the Christian themes, but more because of content. Which
if it's football, there's a natural amount of violence that occurs with football. But then again, everybody watches football.
This is a quote from House Majority Whip Roy Blunt. The incident raises the disquieting possibility that the MPAA considers exposure to Christian themes more dangerous for children than exposure to gratuitous sex and violence. Now, I just want to point out something. This is the most ridiculous quote I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a stupid
quote. Because
quote.
there's no G-rated movies that have exposure to gratuitous sex or violence.
There's a few PG movies that have that.
Gratuitous sex or violence. I mean, there's off-color things, maybe a little violence, but this is my deal. This is my thought process, and I'm right. The truth of the matter is that I think Christians, for the most part, always called for persecution, like pull out the persecution card in any situation like this. And so instead of just hearing it out or working it out, like in the same way that they say, on trials where there's someone of a different race versus somebody who's white, there's always like the race card that's played. I feel like Christians all the time play the persecution card to the extent that people can't take Christians seriously in this manner. So how can we have a conversation about it? Because all of a sudden, instead of just having a conversation, trying to understand what the deal is, we're saying, well, you just hate Christians.
Right.
You hate Jesus.
So you're saying rather than the production company or whoever made this movie work it out with the MPAA, what they do is they take it to like Congress and they start throwing flags out saying, hey, you guys are anti-Christian.
Well, and the guy from Congress, this what's his name? Roy Blunt.
Yeah,
he had a conversation with people at the MPAA where he walked out and he said that he's still concerned, but he understands. Well, okay, so if one conversation happens and he understands, that's fine, but he's still playing the persecution card by saying that I'm still concerned.
Right.
Like, I think that I think that Christians need to get over themselves if they think that this is what persecution is.
Yeah,
because there's people all over the globe for their faith, especially for faith in Christ, being killed or murdered.
They have to fear for their
thrown in
life,
jail,
not
that
for
kind of
their
stuff. Not for getting
ratings,
PG rating.
yeah.
And get this, dude, you get this story out in the news. Does this story help or hurt this movie?
It hurts the movie. I guess it helps the movie.
I think it helps the movie because there's tons of Christians who hear this movie now, this low budget film, and they're going to go see it and watch it.
And there's no such thing as bad
junk, and it'll be, So I would say that overall, this is budget.
My main comment on that was there's really no way the MPAA is actually anti-Christian.
Right.
That's ridiculous. You're not going to see that in America. And we need to get to the last story.
We're probably going to get some good comments about us being stupid idiots.
Yeah. No, I think we're right on that. But I'd like to hear somebody else that disagrees with that.
Sure.
Because they're wrong.
Yeah.
Last story.
Like to meet somebody that dumb.
Enron founder Ken Lay dies of heart disease. This is from MSNBC.
Heart disease.
I called this the quote of the month because it actually contains a quote of the month. Did you think it was a really good quote too? Okay. So Kenneth Lay, founder of Enron Corp, who ascended to the pinnacle of American business only to tumble into disgrace, died of a heart attack on Wednesday. He was 64. Lay, once again, 64, faced the prospect of the rest of his life in prison after his conviction May 25th of fraud and conspiracy and one of the biggest debacles in American corporate history. All right, so dude convicted of the biggest business scandal ever.
Right.
Was guaranteed pretty much going to go to jail for a long time, at least 10
for the rest of his life.
Probably for the rest of his life, like a minimum 10 to 15 years, which is near the rest of his life. So what happens? He was convicted, and then the way our justice system works, please explain this to me, somebody, is that you have a long period of time before you're actually sentenced.
Right.
So during this long period of time before he's actually sentenced, he gets to go vacation in Aspen, Colorado, which is point number one I want to make.
He's not, they say he's not a risk to society, so he's allowed to do whatever he can.
Yeah, it's stupid though. The guy is a convicted felon, he gets to go vacation in Aspen, Colorado.
Yeah, vacation.
Yeah. Stupid.
I'm using a lot of quotes with this story.
What? What you don't think he was vacationing?
No, I think.
What do you call it?
I think he was.
What do you want to call it?
Keep going, and then I'll tell you what.
All right. And so then, while he was vacationing in Aspen, Colorado,
he had a sudden heart attack.
You think this is foul play? Okay, so the quote by a friend was, "I guess when you're facing the rest of your life in jail, and in your heart you know you're an innocent man, I guess it's too much to bear." Sure. So that was a quote. because I've not talked to a single person who thinks this guy's an innocent man. Right. I think that's pretty funny. What the heck are you thinking right now?
Okay, here's a couple things. Some people think that this dude was outside the loop. That the dude who blew his brains away in the parking lot of Enron or whatever, and the other guy who got convicted were more the masterminds behind it. And this guy knew a little bit, but he didn't understand fully. Nonetheless, he's guilty because of what he was doing. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I've heard already being discussed. This is maybe a joking idea, but how much money... There's people who think either this dude's not really dead or this dude died, but it wasn't a natural heart attack. Like, this dude said, okay, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. I guess I'll find a way to die.
Right. And I at first instance I thought that as well, until they actually say they call it heart disease.
Sure.
And like they did an autopsy on him or whatever.
They did an autopsy.
Oh,
His family doctors.
But okay, so that point
aside, are you telling me if you're a rich, crazy dude and you're about to spend the rest of your life in jail that thought wouldn't cross, maybe not your mind, but this guy's mind for sure?
Ritual seppuku.
I don't. What'd you just say?
Ritual seppuku. It's a Japanese like fall on the sword thing.
Oh,
Get
okay.
it? Yeah,
sure.
it actually made sense.
Yeah. I don't speak Japanese. I'm sorry.
No problem. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. To quote the whole thing like that, though, I don't think it's actually that bad.
I think it is. I think he's hanging out with Jimmy Hoffa and Elvis right now. Guaranteed.
No. The truth, it's just an interesting story how, like, and Tri-Frog said, friends and families will, because I was, the main thrust was at the quote, so I want to revert to that now, okay?
That's fine.
Which the quote is funny, right?
Yes.
I mean,
hilarious.
It's great. So friends and family, he said, Tri-Frog said on the site, will say the silliest things about people when they're gone, especially individuals who have such an obviously poor public perception.
Sure.
Which is true. Like, if you see it on the family, even though the whole world around them thinks they're like a bad person, that family member, that friend's gonna like defend them all the way.
Yeah, like when Richard Nixon died, everybody said all these great things about Nixon, but for the longest time they hated him.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. Like, is that loyalty? I guess. I mean, obviously,
it's loyalty.
It's loyalty, well, even though something's wrong.
A person's life is not just what, like,
the last sin they committed, or so to speak.
It's not defined by the one thing that everybody else defines it by. You know,
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The person. I mean, Kinley was a father. He was a friend. He was a brother. He was, a son. Like, all these things are true. And maybe he was corrupt in a large portion of his life, but he's still a dude that is loved and loved people. So.
Right. And he looked like a nice guy by his picture.
Rest in peace, Kinley.
Oh man, for your sake, I hope he's still alive somewhere.
I hope we hang out sometime.
Oh gee whiz. Okay, so that's the end of our story. You can visit us on the website, socialtruth.com. Where you can register and post in the forums. A lot of good discussions going on.
Blast me for all my crazy opinions.
And please do, get on the forum and tell Andy he's wrong and tell me I'm right. You can also email us comments if you want, socialtruth@gmail.com, or you can...
give us a call.
Just call on the voicemail. Yeah,
773-598-TRUE. 773-598-8783.
And we'll be there, and until next time, we're going to peace out for now, and we'll see you guys on the website.
Later.